for the countdown. Whenever you're ready, we are live streaming.
한편 그렇지 그러고 말고 하루 백년 살자는데 왜 서러워요 한편 그렇지 그러고 말고 하루 백년 살자는데 왜 간서워요
Hello, I am your host for today. My name is Eddie Resto. In this episode of LACC TV, we will be talking about remote music production during the COVID-19 quarantine. I will show and describe some artist studios, share music videos created while socially distancing, and then introduce and interview musician Jimmy Brownlee, who will tell us about his creative process during this pandemic. I am a musician, I play the bass, I freelance. The quarantine has impacted my life in that I no longer can travel, perform, teach, go on about my recording lifestyle, production lifestyle. I have a photo of a setup that I used to record, and because of the quarantine, stay at home, I had to figure out how to continue working and producing and recording from home. I never did anything like that. So with the help of my friends, they helped me with ideas, equipment, and before I knew it, I was up and running. If you would have told me 2 years ago that I was going to be recording from home, I probably would have looked at you and said, okay. So I asked my friends to submit a photo of their home recording setups for our show today. This is a great way to find out how artists are staying creative while adhering to the quarantine stay-at-home lifestyle. Let's take a look at some setups. First off, Oscar Hernandez. He's a pianist, producer, arranger, and composer, musical director for Paul Simon and Ruben Blades, four-time Grammy winner of the Spanish Harlem Orchestra. He was like me. He never did anything from home. He would go to the studios and record, produce, and on and on. Next up, let's take a look at Will Dog, bassist, producer, songwriter, student of mine, by the way, founder and leader of two-time Grammy Award-winning band Ozo Motley. As you can see in his setup, he's been doing it for a while. And he not only records and produces people from his studio, but he also leases it out to people. He's very creative and I'm very proud of him. I miss going to that studio where we would collaborate and do a bunch of recording and producing. Next up, let's take a look at Munyongo Jackson, drummer, percussionist, producer, session musician, former member of the Miles Davis Band, and is currently with Stevie Wonder for the past decade. As you can see in his studio, it's like home. I go in there and I forget about time. In fact, I don't think there's a clock in there. So you can go inside there, produce, record, and, lose track of time. He's a wonderful person and his studio production is amazing. I'm really impressed with the high caliber studio setups we've seen just now. Speaking of impressive, let's take a look at the full remote performance of Jindo Arirang, produced by Jimmy Brownlee and performed by jazz vocalist Kelly Che from Korea. The title track is Jindo Arirang. now I would like to take the opportunity to introduce a very dear friend of mine, fellow musician, Jimmy Brownlee, musician, producer, recording engineer, educator. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm very happy that he's here to join us on this episode of LACC TV. Jimmy Brownlee, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, everyone, for the invitation. Thank you so much.
Just a couple of questions. During COVID quarantine, when it first started, and all of a sudden we stay at home, what went through your mind those first couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, it's confusing when it first happens. You don't know that it's happening the way we know now. So immediately, what I was getting was a bunch of emails from companies and people I work with saying our next jobs, our next tours, our next recordings are canceled. So that's when you start realizing we're in trouble, And not only one email or two, but daily, because I work with different artists, so that happens. That's the main thing. You start getting worried about. Well, I'm supposed to be a whole year touring. Now it's not happening. And the students, and same with certain recording sessions that occur when you do it together at certain studios. That happens. That right away. That's when I was like, wow, this is happening.
Okay, I relate. So here we are, 2 months into quarantine now. We realize, okay, this is serious. How did you figure out, okay, I got to generate some income? What did you do to keep yourself working from home?
Well, what I do is what I always did is record from home, mix albums, mastered, I did some videos for some people before, but we weren't capable of doing it together. So I was trying now to get into using my all the things that I know about video and to help other people, even they didn't have the money at that moment, or to do it for low budgets, just to helping people who don't have the money right now. So I started doing more of this stuff at home, more composing videos, music videos, or even lessons for different people who couldn't afford it, But at the same time, I was learning more and using it as a tool to learn more stuff.
I have so much respect for you with your ability to manipulate technology. You did a video that I'm very proud to be a part of it, where you had 5 separate musicians in a frame performing. It seemed like they were performing together in unison to create a video performance. Talk about how you did that, Jimmy.
Well, that's we're talking about Kelly Shea, our dear friend, artist and singer. Well, she asked me, Jimmy, I want to do this video, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how can we put this together. And I said, listen, we need one person to start it all. Let me do it. So the first thing I did was pull out one of her old sessions that we did before and start muting instruments. If you have a quintet, you have bass, drums, piano, guitar, and drums, whatever, or more. You start sending just a click track with a basic piano track and a drum track to a bass player, in this case you. So I send you that bass and I ask you to please play that bass like it's your last time. And and you have to also film yourself. That's the first artist, the first guy who you call, and that was you. So you did the bass, and then so on with the rest of the musicians. They send you a file, an audio file, and in this case you have to make sure they know that you're working at WAV file or AF. In this case I always work WAV file, 24B 48K. Make sure the video we are doing at the same frame rate, and you send me that. Also the position of the video. We talk about all this stuff. You send me that, and then as soon as you send me that, make another mix with your bass, and that mix goes to the guitar player, and the guitar player adds the guitar. At the same time, he's filming himself, with keeping in mind if you're filming like this or like this. We'll talk about all of that on the phone. He sends both files, audio and video, and we put it together, and so on until the last one which was Kelly. when she did her vocal tracks. Then you put it together. All I did it on Final Cut um, after having the music mix and master, and that's the way it happens. You could be miles away. It doesn't matter. At the end, it happens all in one place.
Well, it happens because of you too. Uh, I have to say, this year has been, I can't find words to describe what we all went through, but I have seen progress in technology this year. And if, let's say, we continue on another year or whatever amount of time where we have to stay quarantined, because of the development that we've seen, where do you see the future of this technology going for creative people, musicians, and the like?
Well, technology has always been there. The possibility of buying this inexpensive equipment to be able to record at home there's been there. But now with the situation, people are looking at it more like a survival tool more than a fun thing to get for home. So now people can buy a little interface microphone or a little interface that you can plug in your guitar, your bass, or your microphone, and then you can do stuff. But that comes with learning. You got to learn the software. You got to learn the quality, maximum quality you can use for having such a not really top of the line, in equipment if you don't have the money to get the really expensive one. And I believe that you can do a miracle with simple stuff as long as you know the rules of getting a signal that is clean. The same happens with video. So I think people are really are getting more used to doing these things from home and getting this equipment for the pandemic or for after the pandemic. But right now it's important. We're still going through this, and it's important that we'll learn new stuff because now we cannot get together.
Well, I got to say, the last time I performed live was with you back in March 2020.
I remember. Yeah.
Amy Brownlee, thank you so much for joining us here on this episode of LACC TV. And now let's take a look at this video, 500 Years with Kelly Che and her band, produced by Jimmy Brownlee.
한국형 그렇지 끌어구구 말고 한 500년 살자는데 왜 서가 와요 한국형 그렇지 끌어구구 말고 한 500년 살자는데 왜 간서워요 그렇지길 그러고 말고 한 500년 살자는데 왜 서와요 아무렴 그렇지길 그러고 말고 한 500년 살자는데 왜 서와요 한마디 이 세상 야수가 아니기만 영주고 그렇지길 그러고 말고 한 500년 살자는데 왜 서러워요
Please take care of yourself. And don't forget to check out the next episode of LACC TV.